Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast Lab. I'm your host, Mark, and today's episode feels a little different and extra special. For the very first time, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by someone who will be a regular voice here on the podcast, my new co-host, Sarah. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Hi Mark, and a massive hello to all the wonderful listeners. Mark, thank you so much for having me. I'm incredibly excited to be joining you as a co-host on English Podcast Lab. It's a real pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to our conversations and sharing with everyone.
The pleasure is all mine, Sarah. I'm so glad to have you on board. Now, for our listeners, in today's episode, we're going to be diving into a fascinating topic, learning new things. We'll be chatting about our personal experiences with picking up new skills, like learning to bake or studying a new language, and we'll also be getting Sarah's thoughts and my own perspectives on the benefits and challenges of lifelong learning. So, Sarah, are you ready to share some of your experiences with learning new things?
Absolutely, Mark. I've got a few stories and thoughts brewing. Let's get started.
So, Sarah, let's kick things off. Can you tell us about a time you learned something new that you found particularly rewarding?
Definitely. A few years ago, I decided to take up learning Spanish. It was something I'd always been curious about, but I never seemed to have the time. Once I finally dedicated myself to it, even just a little bit each day, I found it incredibly rewarding. Being able to understand and even have basic conversations in another language opened up a whole new world for me, especially when I traveled. It was a real confidence booster.
That's fantastic. I can relate to that. For me, one of the most rewarding things I've learned recently is how to bake properly. For years, my attempts at baking were, shall we say, less than successful. But I started following online tutorials and practicing consistently, and now I can actually bake a decent cake. There's a real sense of accomplishment in creating something delicious from scratch. What about the challenges, Sarah? What's a new skill you've tried to learn that you found difficult?
Yes, there have been a few. One that comes to mind is when I tried to learn coding. I started with an introductory online course, and while the initial concepts were manageable, I quickly felt out of my depth. The logical thinking required and the sheer amount of new information to absorb felt quite overwhelming at times. I haven't given up completely, but it's definitely been a steeper learning curve than Spanish.
I can imagine. Coding seems like quite a challenge. I once tried to learn to play the guitar, and I have to say, coordinating my fingers on the fretboard while strumming with the other hand felt incredibly awkward at first. It took a lot of persistence and patience, and while I wouldn't call myself a guitarist by any means, I can now play a few basic chords. What do you think motivates you to learn new things, Sarah?
For me, a big motivator is the feeling of personal growth and expansion. Learning something new broadens my horizons, exposes me to new ideas, and keeps my mind active. It's also about the sheer joy of discovery and the sense of intellectual stimulation that comes with understanding something you didn't before. How about you, Mark? What drives your desire to learn?
I think for me, it's a combination of things. Like you said, the sense of personal growth is a big one. I also find that learning new skills can often lead to unexpected opportunities and connections. For example, learning to bake has led to me sharing my creations with friends and family, which has been really lovely. And sometimes, it's just about tackling a challenge and proving to myself that I can do it. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start learning something new but feels intimidated?
I would say, start small and be patient with yourself. Break down the learning process into smaller, more manageable steps. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're a natural part of learning. Also, find resources and communities that can support you, whether it's online forums, classes, or friends who share the same interest. And most importantly, try to find something you genuinely enjoy, as that will make the whole process much more rewarding and sustainable. What are your thoughts, Mark?
I completely agree, Sarah. Starting small is crucial, and celebrating those small wins along the way can keep you motivated. Also, don't compare your progress to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. And remember that the initial stages can often feel the most challenging, but with consistent effort, things usually start to click. It's all about embracing the journey and enjoying the process of discovery.
Absolutely. It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Wonderful insight, Sarah. Thank you for sharing your experiences and perspectives. That was a really insightful conversation about the joys and challenges of learning new things. Now, to help you all expand your vocabulary related to this topic, Sarah has once again put together a fantastic vocabulary breakdown from our discussion. Sarah, take it away.
Thanks, Mark. I've picked out some keywords and phrases that we use today that are really useful when talking about learning and acquiring new skills. Let's get into it. Vocabulary breakdown. Take up. Phrasal verb. To start doing a particular job or activity. Example. I decided to take up yoga to improve my flexibility. Dedicated myself. Verb phrase. To commit oneself to a particular task or purpose. Example. She dedicated herself to studying for the exam and passed with flying colors. Confidence booster. Noun phrase. Something that makes you feel more self-assured. Example. Learning a new language can be a real confidence booster. Accomplishment. Noun. The successful achievement of a task. Example. Finishing the marathon gave me a great sense of accomplishment. From scratch. Adverb phrase. From the very beginning. Example. He built the entire website from scratch. Out of my depth. Idiom. In a situation that you do not have the knowledge or skills to deal with. Example. When the conversation turned to quantum physics, I felt completely out of my depth. Overwhelming. Adjective. Difficult to deal with, very large or intense. Example. The amount of information in the textbook was overwhelming. Steeper learning curve. Noun phrase. A situation in which it is difficult to learn something quickly. Example. Computer programming often has a steeper learning curve than basic word processing. Persistence. Noun. Firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Example. It took a lot of persistence to finally finish writing my novel. Intellectual stimulation. Noun phrase. Something that encourages thinking and new ideas. Example. Reading challenging books provides great intellectual stimulation. Broadens my horizons. Verb phrase. Expands my range of knowledge and understanding. Example. Traveling to different countries broadens my horizons. Manageable steps. Noun phrase. Tasks or stages that are easy to deal with. Example. We broke the project down into manageable steps. Sustainable. Adjective. Able to be maintained at a certain rate or level. Example. For a new hobby to be sustainable, you need to enjoy it. Celebrate those small wins. Verb phrase. To acknowledge and feel happy about minor successes. Example. It's important to celebrate those small wins when you're learning something new. Things start to click. Idiom. To become clear or understandable. Example. After a few weeks of practice, the grammar rules started to click. Embracing the journey. Verb phrase. Accepting and engaging with the process of learning or experiencing something. Example. Learning a new skill is about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs.
Fantastic vocabulary breakdown, Sarah. That's a great collection of words and phrases for our listeners to incorporate into their own discussions about learning.
Thanks, Mark. I hope it's helpful for everyone.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of English Podcast Lab, and our very first with my wonderful co-host, Sarah. We hope this conversation about the joy of learning new things has inspired you to perhaps pick up a new skill yourself. Remember to check out the vocabulary breakdown for some useful terms, and keep practicing your English.
It's been such a pleasure being here, Mark, and chatting with all of you. I'm really looking forward to our future episodes together.
Goodbye, everyone.